How do you set yourself apart as a young engineer from those around you?
Look, I think that the industry will always recognize talent. It'll always recognize quality work. No matter where you are, what you do, what is something that really excites you about the transportation industry?
I think it's the design, getting to come up with solutions and call the shots of here's an issue you have at hand and how do you overcome it and come up with multiple solutions that meet the need, meet the requirements. However, each of them are slightly vary and just kind of coming up with creative ways to get around or solve an issue. I think that's what excites me the most. One of the questions is the future of AI within civil engineering.
I use AI every single day, hours out of the day. So I would say that you first need to start using it immediately and start adopting it into everything that you do.
How do you find a mentor?
So first, let me say that mentors are going to change constantly, and there isn't just one mentor. You're not going to find a mentor as much as they might be interested in mentoring you, right? But you have to show that you're available and that you want to learn.
What's the biggest issue you've noticed with a lot of new graduates coming into the workforce?
It feels like there's fewer of them and they're less excited. What tip would you give to a college student on how to interview for an internship or job?
Just be confident in yourself and just show that you're willing to learn and you're not afraid to step up to the plate.
Welcome back. This is another episode of Between Two Shovels. Our guest today, Orgil Batchuluun, a recent college graduate in civil engineering from Sacramento State. I asked Orgil to come on today to talk about his experiences graduating from Sacramento State in the field of civil engineering, his entry into the field, and what questions does he have for me? What can I answer for him as a recent college grad? And I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome to Between Two Shovels. I'm Derek Minnema. This is Orgil Batchuluun.
How's it going?
It's going great, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Now, you're a young buck.
Yes,
you
sir.
are a young buck. Orgil, tell me, when did you graduate college?
I graduated last year, spring 2024,
Yeah.
and it's been an exciting year.
I mean, from Sac State.
Sac State, yes,
You're
sir.
a Sac State Bachelor's of Science, Civil Engineering,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yeah.
I like the sir. You better keep calling me that too, buddy. I like that. My wife's grandfather, he goes by sir, and I'm gonna adopt that someday when I'm a grandfather. But so Sac State, 2004.
2024. Yeah.
That's right. 2024, 1 year ago, basically. Bachelor's of Science in Civil Engineering. When do you get your PE? When are you eligible to take your PE?
So I already have my EIT and I passed my 8-hour at the start of the year, which was super exciting. And now I'm waiting for another year to apply to the board to be eligible to take the seismic and surveying. And
Okay, so you are an engineer in training,
yes, sir.
right? You passed that test.
Yeah.
And what is this 8-hour thing that
8
you're
hours.
referring
So, from what I understand, how the the PE used to be set up is you have the large 8-hour exam, and then you have your seismic and surveying. From my understanding, you used to take it all in the same weekend.
That's what I did. Yes.
However, now you can take that first 8-hour exam whenever you want.
Okay.
And so
You've already taken it.
I've already taken it, passed it my first try, so that's pretty exciting. And now I'm just waiting for another year because you have to have 2 years of experience to apply to the board. And once that gets approved, which takes about 6 months in total from the moment you submit, assuming you did it correctly.
So when I was applying to become a professional engineer, right, and to go and become eligible to take the test, you had to have a minimum of 2 years. So usually it was about 2.5. And then you had to have I think it was 3 other engineers stamp to say, this person is eligible. Is that still the case?
I believe so, yeah. But that's when you do the final application and then to take the seismic and survey.
It's really interesting that you're allowed to take the test so quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just making a comment there. So.
No, it's, to me, it's been super beneficial because my main goal coming out of college was to get that first exam out of the way to where I can spend the next year and a half really just focusing on work and not really have to worry about the exam itself, to where it's behind me. And so that puts a little less stress
To
on me.
me, it seems like we're lowering the standards, young buck. That's what it seems like to me.
But the thing is, I think over the last couple of years, the pass rate for the exam has been dropping. I think
Good.
I think the transportation exam, I think it's because so many people take it. It has the lowest pass rate out of all of the
Transportation's hard.
Yeah, it has the lowest pass rate out of all the specializations that they have. So
Well, yeah. You know, I actually did not take the transportation specialization.
no,
I did the water one.
water one, yeah.
Yeah. My early career was in water, and here I am running a transportation agency.
Right.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I think the transportation exam is really about like traffic engineers, guys that are like, you know, doing level service calculations. That's kind of my impression of it. So, okay, young buck. So you're out of school for a year. You're diving into the world of civil engineering. What's your initial impression? What are you excited about?
I'm just excited to really learn. There's one thing that's really I've come to notice, like between like my time in school versus my time in the actual like career field, is a lot of the concepts that we learn in school.
Our concepts?
Well, concepts, yeah. It's like, well, it's been a
It's book learning versus real world.
yeah. It's been some.
Okay. Well, I don't want to stump you too much with these tough questions. Tell me, what would you want to know from me? Because, see, I've been doing this for a long time. You have access. You're a fresh college graduate. What do you want to know when it comes to this career field?
I guess one thing that I've kind of been curious about is like, how do you set yourself apart as a young engineer from those around you, right? Everyone's awfully smart. We're all engineers, but how do you kind of step up above the rest and kind of get yourself noticed by
You come on podcasts.
your come on podcast?
Yeah,
can
and there's
notice-
not that many smart ones. I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
You know, we're not all smart. We're not all smart. I think that there's plenty of dumb engineers out there. I also, you know, it's the same with every field. You know, just because someone's a doctor doesn't mean they're a great doctor, or an attorney. You know, there's plenty of bad attorneys. So, I mean, first, how do you set yourself apart? Look, I think that the industry will always recognize talent. It'll always recognize quality work. No matter where you are, what you do quality work, and that will set you apart. Like that's just always what matters, right? Is that if you do a really good job and your work is quality and it's not filled with errors and mistakes, people will recognize that and they will seek you out. Project managers will want you working on their projects if they can rely on your quality of work, right? So just focus on that. Learn, be a sponge, you know, and do really good quality work, which I know you can do. What are you working on right now?
So I'm currently working on 3 different projects. One we just submitted. My main project right now is a safe routes to school project, where out in a city called Westland, right by Yuba City, it's they don't have a lot of pedestrian infrastructure.
You're
And
talking about a sidewalk.
sidewalk, yeah,
Okay,
a lot
yes,
of there's
you want the kids to walk to school on a
right, yeah.
sidewalk.
There's no bike lanes, cars are speeding everywhere,
Sure.
and this project has been nothing but a headache. Like,
Really?
it always feels like we take 1 step forward and 2 steps back, because we discover some sort of issue, and then and you start going down that, and you find more issues.
Who would have known building a sidewalk could be so complicated?
You know,
my friend?
that was one surprising thing, and especially with curb ramps, I never realized how much minutia goes into curb ramps.
Sure. I get it. I get it. And with the yellow truncated domes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, so what has been your biggest surprise? You've graduated college. You're coming out into the real world. What has been the biggest shock or surprise to you?
I think I would say the people. The people really, because in my, like, at least in school, I don't know, it always felt like a lot of my peers were very quiet and very reserved.
Uh-huh.
But
You're surprised at how cool civil engineers
I'm
are?
surprised how,
We are the coolest of all the engineers.
yeah, it's like everyone,
Nobody
at
wants
least,
to be,
yeah,
the computer engineer now.
right? No, they're not finding
Just kidding.
jobs.
I'm just kidding.
But like, at least my team specifically, it's a lot of outgoing folks, and we're very like eager to go do activities together. And um, we always have every other Friday, we always have a little group lunch together. And we
Are you missing it today?
I I don't think so. No, I hope not. I think we're getting sushi today, but I could be wrong. They're very indecisive with what we want for lunch.
Good team building.
A lot of good team building.
And this
yeah.
has surprised you.
Well, yeah, because in school, a lot of my peers I felt like were very
Boring?
reserved and quiet and boring. Yeah,
Oh, I'm just messing
they're-
with you.
I don't know. It seemed like a lot of my peers either just didn't like me, or they just didn't really want to like intermingle and kind of build that connection.
Well, maybe they weren't, maybe they didn't feel that you were, giving them the answers to the test or
No,
something.
I guess not. No.
Well, I'm glad that the real world has surprised you with our, fun.
Yeah, that's been.
So, okay. Well, what about, fire one at me. Come on. What do you got?
One kind of question, I think it's kind of, it applies to a lot of industries, but also ours is kind of the future of AI within civil engineering.
The future of AI.
And kind of, how do you think AI will affect new graduates and like their ability to get jobs, and how it will kind of affect our day-to-day life working? And
I use AI every single day, like hours out of the day. All right. So I would say that you first need to start using it immediately and start adopting it into everything that you do. Whatever it is you think you're doing, AI can help you do it. So I literally talk to my AI. That's why they call it Chat GPT.
Fair
enough. So I talk to it
Mhm.
and work out issues and things like that. I was like, man, I got to prep for this podcast. Help me prep for this podcast. No, I just kidding.
It's surprisingly useful.
Oh, I'm not surprised by it at all. You start with just a little bit and it is like your best friend. It is so great. How do I think it'll affect new college graduates? Well, I don't know. You still have to do the work and know the work. It's like I'm saying, you can't fake it. You can't fake it. I do think some of the, I think it's becoming easier to become a civil engineer, and that's
How come?
Well, when you're telling these stories about like already taking your 8-hour and stuff like that, I'm more in favor of raising the standards and making it more difficult. And I don't think that that's the current trend line.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure I'm really giving you an answer about AI. I think that it's certainly going to help people write emails. It's going to help people communicate. But at the end of it,
do you think there's tasks that like we do like within our design, or?
yeah, I think it could possibly help, but you can never give up the power of the stamp. When you say that this is what the calculation is and someone's checked it and that it's a stamp there, then that's your work product. You have to stamp your work, and artists sign their work,
Right.
engineers stamp their plans,
Right.
so you have to do it. And I don't think AI is going to take anything away from that. It might help you get some gut checks, some gut feelings, help you to learn a little bit more,
Right.
things like that. But technology is always going to improve. And if I had any advice to anyone, it would be to start adopting it as quickly as possible and get ready for it. Use it immediately. So I don't know. What else you got? So you have the opportunity here. You're out of school for a year.
Mm.
I'm thinking, what's going to be helpful for you to learn and know? But maybe you just want to know what my favorite, type of beer is. I don't know. What's some of your, you got a list of
Yeah, I
notes
got a
here,
list of
buddy.
questions.
So you're prepared?
Yeah.
Fire away, my friend.
What's kind of the biggest obstacle you faced in your career as a engineer?
Obstacle.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's no real obstacles. No, I mean, if you're working hard and you're, growing in your profession, I don't think there's any real obstacles. I would say that you definitely need to have a family, find yourself a woman and get some kids. That's going to help you grow in your career for sure. And, um, you know, I don't know that there's any real obstacles in what we do. I think there's opportunities abound. And, if there's any obstacle, maybe it's in your own brain, your own self limitation, and you've got to get rid of that. You got to,
Believe in yourself. And
just
be ambitious.
work hard, man. Just work hard. Honestly, I don't think there's any obstacles out there.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Another one I got is as you're coming out of college or as you're kind of getting closer to graduation, how do you know if you should go into private or the state? And having kind of started your career out in private and eventually switching to kind of the more public side.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting one because especially in Sacramento, because there's so many public opportunities, right? I mean, the state is here. And so I would say, well, let me give you the short answer, which is I would go private for sure. Look, here's the thing for me. I was trying to graduate as fast as possible. I felt like it took me 5 years to get out. And that last year, I was like, I was just ready to go. I had taken junior college classes at Sacramento City and American River. I was doing winter school. I was doing summer school. I was trying to just get out. And I had internships. So I was on my second internship when I graduated. So I had work experience and I was doing things. My experience is the private sector is going to give you the fast-paced, maybe a more, call it fraternal atmosphere, but just call it fun atmosphere, a lot more team building, things like that. But it's going to come down to the design experience. And this is something I personally highly value is especially early in your career, you need to do calculations. You need to do drafting. You need to create plan sets, write specifications, and, coordinate amongst many different industries and fields and disciplines. And I think the private sector is going to offer that way better than the public sector. So how do you make the decision? I know that some people think that maybe there's some initial benefit package or, long-term benefit of the state benefits or public sector benefits. But in my experience, I would say that the design and raw engineering is worth gold.
Right.
So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Why did you choose private sector?
Mostly just I felt like in the private sector you can learn a lot more and do a lot more, and especially just start on your career when you're fresh out of college, you don't know anything, and you're just a sponge. And like going into private, that's where you're gonna get as much as you can, and as much as you're willing to give, you're gonna get back.
Did you interview with a lot of different public and private entities?
I did not. My first job coming out of college, I sent out a email to what was my old PM asking, hey, if they're looking to hire. And she responded with yeah. And then eventually, I submitted my resume through the company's website, and that helped. That got me my first job. And then when I switched over to Dawkins, I ran into Chris Ladias at a APWA luncheon, I believe it was. And Chris was he's my senior project professor for my capstone project. And that class put me and one group member through hell. Just because of our group, it was the most difficult group to work with. And
you came out stronger.
I came out stronger. And Chris
Always.
recognized that.
Yeah.
And I was really fortunate in that he recognized the effort I put in.
So the story you're telling right now is that you were out and about in a social atmosphere with called these professional organizations, right? You had made a contact with someone that you was known through school, and that your hard work and grit to get through something challenging was recognized.
Right.
This is
Yeah.
what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right? People are always going to recognize that.
Yeah.
So,
And
but
then
you didn't have to go out and do a lot of interviews.
no. I was the only interview I've had 3 interviews. One was for my internship,
Okay.
and then one was for my previous company, and then where I am at today with Dawkins with my
What
current.
tip would you give to a college student on how to interview for an internship or job, having just gone through it?
Having just gone through it. I would say just be confident in yourself and just kind of show that you're willing to learn and you're not afraid to kind of step up to the plate and willing to take the risk of just, yeah, I'll do it. You might not know how to do it at the moment, but just be confident in yourself and believe in yourself and
Good.
know what you're capable of. And
What's something somebody should avoid doing in an interview?
um,
Have you had any kind of experience like that?
yeah, I had one interview for an internship that I completely fumbled
Okay.
because I didn't take it that seriously.
Okay.
For whatever reason, I just thought, oh, it'll be just simple, turn my camera on and we'll just talk about something. And I, for whatever reason, didn't take it seriously at all. And
Are you taking this podcast seriously, my friend? Because this is important.
yeah. But yeah, I just didn't take it seriously. And as a result, I didn't prepare properly. They hit me with a couple hard hitting questions like you have. And
Oh my
that
God, these aren't even hard. You're chirping.
they just stumped me with questions and I just didn't have a appropriate answer.
Yeah.
And I just kind of went blank a lot of the time and I was just ill prepared.
Sure.
And
All
that
right.
was
Be
that was my-
prepared, take it seriously, be confident.
be confident,
That's
be
what you
ambitious.
have to do.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Ask me the very last question on your list there. I see you've got 14 of them written
Right.
down.
Yeah.
So go ahead. What is number 14 on this list of questions?
What's the next big shift in civil engineering? Like, what do you think this whole industry is headed, especially being at your level at the kind
Oh
of
man, the next big shift in civil engineering. Well, I got to tell you, first of all, water has been flowing downhill forever, and roads have been being built forever. I don't think there's a brand new, invention coming around the horizon anytime soon. What's the next big shift in civil engineering? Gosh, man, that's a tough one. I think the easy answer is to say something like AI, but I think, I think we have to figure out how to make transit work in our transportation system. And we haven't figured out how to do that yet. I think there's a mass transit ridership crisis across this United States. And that's not good. That's not good. I mean, and so the next big shift is going to be the person who can figure out how to make a financially sustainable transit system work in a city.
Mhm.
That's going to be gold. That's going to be gold. We certainly haven't figured it out here. And it doesn't look like it's been figured out even in these big cities like San Francisco, so I don't know.
How come do you think there's that kind of that gap or that blip in
I think technology has just outpaced some of that raw infrastructure. What I mean by that is the flexible working from home, the laptop type of industry that we have. It's making it less and less necessary to be on a mass transit system and to get around, especially with, Ubers and Lyft. And now they're zero occupant vehicles, these robot cars that are out driving around. And so, we'll see if that takes off, right? We'll see if that takes off. We're seeing more and more electrification of the vehicle fleet. but it's not even that much. I mean, there's practically no medium or heavy duty electric vehicles. They're mostly just passenger vehicles at this point. And I know, California is doing its best to increase that electrification, but even in California, which is the most of any other state, it's still extremely small. So, I don't know. We'll see how the whole transit system gets figured out and how all these robot cars are going to be integrated, and we'll just keep trucking on. We'll see how it works.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll figure that out.
Yeah.
You'll figure that out.
I'm the next in line.
Yeah. That's a great question. Do you ride transit at all?
I do not know. I feel like in Sacramento, it's kind of hard. At least where I live in Carmichael, public transit is not readily available at all.
Well, even if it was, what would you do?
If public transit was readily available in Sacramento, I would honestly take it.
Are you talking about a light rail line or a bus? Are you going to tell me you're going to take a bus someplace?
Realistically, similar to a BART system that they have in the Bay Area. I used to live in the Bay Area, and that was super beneficial. I feel like, in my opinion, where I didn't need a car to go from point A to point B because the BART was there.
BART's very different than what we have here.
Yeah.
Great exclusive. Here's a tidbit about BART. It actually has a wider rail gauge than standard light rail.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a 60-inch rail gauge, which is supposed to make it smoother, on the rocking.
It's not. I don't think BART's too bad. Well, the ride isn't too bad.
No, it's not. No, it's okay. Yeah. All right. Ask me another question.
For those of the young engineers who have that entrepreneurial spirit and that want to start their own firm eventually, what do you think would be the best path for them to follow and ultimately get to where you have your own firm and have that client base to where you have that consistent workflow? And how do you even get those clients to begin with?
Well, I think you started by telling a story about meeting your current boss at a professional organization. You got to do that all the time. Be involved in everything. Meet as many people as you can. And that will help you develop your client base, especially, public clients, right? Because what would be a path? I would say, one, get experience, right? And start to meet other private firms that would bring you on as a sub potentially, right? And so when you create your business, you've got some contractual relationship with larger firms who will bring you on as a sub consultant, give you some fresh new work. And then as you grow, you can start to get into being the prime and doing, chasing projects as the prime lead. But none of that's really going to happen without you first getting the experience in the work and recognize the market and where you want to be, right? And so, the bird is going to go chase the worm no matter where that worm is, right? So if you got to get up early and, go to Humboldt County, if that's where the worms are, you got to go get them, right? But if you're got that entrepreneurial spirit and you want to have your own firm, one, get as much experience as you can, work, because being an entrepreneur is not like it's easy.
No.
So make those connections with other firms and project managers that, are going to help you, give you your first contract, things like that. But then focus geographically on an area where there is going to be a lot of work. And that can be a little tough to figure out. But the best place to start is right where you live. Right. So that would be my advice.
And a lot of locations have kind of niches. I feel like in Sacramento, there's a lot of dam and levee safety involved.
Sure.
And let's say up in Tahoe, they might have their own kind of niche that people kind of...
Water quality is huge up there.
Right. Kind of big state tours. So I think it's all location based. Yeah.
Water is generally much larger than transportation. I mean, the contracts here for water dwarf what anything you would see in transportation.
Really?
So, you just mentioned it, all the levee work and the water resources and dams and things like that. So, and plus the money's just larger. They have a better revenue stream. So when they can sell water, it really helps to fund contracts. So, yeah, that's all good stuff, man. So tell me more about, what you're loving to work on. Like, what is something that really excites you about the transportation industry?
I think it's the design, getting to come up with solutions and call the shots of here's an issue you have at hand and how do you overcome it and come up with multiple solutions that, meet the need, meet the requirements. However, each of them are slightly vary and just kind of just coming up with creative ways to get around or solve an issue. I think that's what excites me the most. And
Okay. Are there any major projects out there that you're just like, oh man, that looks so cool?
one project I recently did actually I thought
You
was
could say
super
the
cool.
Capital Southeast Connector. That would be like
Yeah.
the. I'm
The
just
perfect
kidding.
answer. Me and my PM, we just recently completed a project for Placer County. It's a debris removal project out of the American River.
Debris removal.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right off State Route 49 underneath Forest Hill Bridge around sometime during the 60s, a bridge collapsed due to
Okay.
atmospheric river. And so as a result, the bridge collapsed and been sat there for the last 60 years. No one's bothered to touch it. And
Yeah.
this project has been super unique and
So that's what I mean, but I'm asking you a question like, is there a project out in the industry somewhere, anywhere that you think is like, wow, that's a really cool project I want to pay attention to, or that just fascinates you? So like for me, over on the East Coast, the Francis Scott Key Bridge was hit by a giant tanker, collapsed, right? And they're going to rebuild it, and they're rebuilding it now. And I'm looking at that saying, man, they could really build something special over there, like a signature bridge over there. And I'm kind of watching that from afar, right? I'm just like, what's happening? And I just kind of want to pay attention to it because I think it's one of those unique projects that, well, it certainly has the opportunity to be something very special. Anything like that come to mind for you?
But it's kind of a Jeep out, but I guess in a way the Southeast Connector, because that's
You can't say that. Come on,
because that's
now.
connecting the two big towns.
You can't. There's nothing sexy about the Capital Southeast
To be honest,
Connector.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't been paying enough attention to kind of what's been going on around to where
What was it that inspired you to become a civil engineer or a civil engineering student?
civil engineering student. Well, I grew up in a very like construction. I grew up in a construction family where I was always around construction. I've always been fascinated with construction, but I didn't necessarily want to do construction. But the whole design process and getting to having something built and having that tangibility of like, this is what I created, is what really drawed me towards civil engineering. And
Sure. Very similar for me. Yeah.
And then growing up, I played a lot of Minecraft, and I was a part of the community where you would build like cities and communities and highways and roads. And
I think I played Minesweep.
Minesweep. I think it's a little different.
Minesweeper. I think that's what it was.
Yeah. And just kind of the combination of those two really just drew me towards civil engineering. And it's something I was kind of somewhat familiar with. Not really, but
So do you follow any of the big mega projects that are going on? Like, are you looking at, I don't know, call it the high-speed rail or what we're building for the Olympics? I mean, you see anything like that you're like, oh man, that's amazing.
No.
Okay, all right. Hey, you're answering for real.
Yeah.
So that's a.
I know Dawkins just did a project for Santa Monica that's related to the Olympics, but
okay,
that was a little bit before my time.
Yeah. Well, I'm watching what they're doing down there for the Olympics. It'll be interesting to see if that all comes together. The first carless Olympics, right? They're trying to say that there won't be any cars in the LA Olympics. That's what they're saying.
Do you think that's possible?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, yeah, there's no doubt about it. So, I mean, they're throwing money around like crazy. I think there's a people mover that they're building for like $2 billion.
Right.
So Here's something that you may experience throughout your career is you'll start working on some big project and then 20 years later, it'll still be going on.
Right.
Right?
Really?
Oh yeah. So the BART extension to San Jose is something I started working on when I was like 22 years old.
Still going on.
It's not even started really. I mean, it's not even really started. And so I think they're going to go an additional 4 miles into downtown San Jose at the cost of $8 billion.
In total.
That's $2 billion a mile.
Wow.
Yeah. No, that kind of takes the cake for me. Is like maybe the most expensive project that like I truly have some sort of connection with. You know, I'm just like, I actually know about this project because I started working on it years ago. But I'm like, man, $2 billion a mile.
Do you think it's worth it just for six?
No. I mean, that kind of money's insane.
Right.
And if I think you have to figure out some way to do that a lot cheaper. I just don't. I mean, I'm too far away from it now, but when you see numbers like that, like the LA People Mover was like $1 billion a mile. I thought that was crazy. I don't know what the high speed rail numbers are. I want to say it's like 100 million a mile or something like that. It's just like insane. It's insane to me, those numbers. And
do you think they should allocate that money towards like a project like the Southeast Connector, or you know,
just keep coming back to it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, here's my general feel on spending money for public infrastructure. Is that public infrastructure ought to serve a broad base of users. And when I say users, I'm talking about military, I'm talking about agriculture, I'm talking about industry, I'm talking about emergency response, you know, things like that. And so if you think about a project that only serves a single user and then you're throwing tons of money at it, man, that's a really tough pill to swallow, and it begs scrutiny. So that's how I view it. You know, you build a power plant, everybody gets to benefit from it, right? You build a reservoir, everybody, including you build a reservoir, you got recreational opportunities. You know, you not only have the water and flood protection and all these things that everyone can use, farmers can use and industry can use, but you're providing recreational opportunities. And you start to apply that public money going into public projects that only have a single user, then now you're in the world of waste and mismanagement. That's my general feel, because public projects come from public money. So
yeah, serves a greater community.
You got to serve a lot of users,
Right? Especially with that type of money, where
it's all our money.
right.
So fire another question at me.
Come
on.
What's kind of the biggest what's the biggest issue you've noticed with a lot of new graduates coming into the workforce? And I know you're like a guest speaker at Sac State for a couple classes. And have you noticed like a shift in kind of the students over the years, especially after COVID, and like how that's affected?
I would say, okay, so I have been involved at Sacramento State for a very long time. That's where I graduated. I participated in the Industry Advisory Council for many years. I don't know if that still exists. I was the director of engineering computer science for student government. So that's a long time ago. I feel that there were more engineering students back then. I felt like there was more of a larger classrooms and things. Like when I recently did some guest lecturing, I walked into a classroom with like 10 people.
Really?
I'm like, where is everyone? You know, that seemed a little strange to me. This is just a comment. It's just a funny story, but like I remember walking into one of the classrooms. This is a couple years ago, and within the first minute of the class starting, I wasn't even speaking. There was a kid in the back falling asleep. Right? He was like, he just came to class to sleep, and it was like I didn't put that kid to sleep.
Right? He was already asleep.
He was already asleep. So I mean, I think that's a tough question. I don't do a ton of hiring of fresh graduates. In general, I think engineering is people a little bit more quiet. I definitely value students having internships and working on senior projects, the collaborative projects. I think those are just absolute goal,
Mhm.
right? You have to have. So I don't know if I've really answered your question, but it feels like there's fewer of them and they're less excited.
Do you,
But that's just a gut feeling. I mean, what do I know? I don't know.
do you think it's just because like, I don't know if I can say this, but do you think it's because it's like less of like a techy industry where everyone's going towards tech and
I mean, no, I don't.
whatnot?
I
No?
have no idea.
Oh, fair enough.
I really don't. I mean, I think it's if you like to build things and you have a good math brain, engineering is a great field.
I got another one. Why is your EIT super important coming out of college? Because I feel like,
I mean, it is important,
Right.
right? I mean, you have to demonstrate that you can pass a test.
right, yeah,
So, having a foundational understanding of the academics is what an engineering training exam really is doing. Right? You're taking a test that is going to include things like thermodynamics. Now, you're not going to need that in your transportation career, but what you're demonstrating is that you have a brain that can understand principled physics and principled chemistry, and you understand these things.
the basic. And,
Yeah, that's very important to demonstrate. So, yes, and I think that it's encouraged people. You're generally encouraged to take that test when you're in school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like at least when I was in school, the emphasis of the FE exam wasn't really kind of pushed on us. Wasn't until my senior year where there's a big like push uh for the EIT. But like my first 3 years, like it was on our, because we're given this kind of schedule for the classes we're supposed to take within our 4 years, and like they just threw it in there, but there wasn't like a big push of just like, hey, you have to take this exam. You have like this should be done prior to graduating, and
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I think that your senior year is appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
You've gotten through some of those really tough exams, tough classes, and that's the appropriate time to push it. Seems right to me. You're not going to tell some freshman or sophomore to do it, So, yeah, I mean, everything seems right to me.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, all right, man, let's wrap this up with like one or two more questions. I want to know, like, hit me with like something that, you just think is super important for all the fresh graduates to tackle. I don't know.
I guess finding a mentor.
Great question. Yes.
How do you find a mentor?
You go on
especially-
podcasts and no, just kidding.
Like, yeah, I think it's because I don't know. Maybe there's like a potential disconnect, or how would
Okay,
you?
so first, let me say that mentors are going to change constantly,
Mhm.
right? And there isn't just one mentor. And I have a mentor today, and so it's not like it's the same person from when I
Right.
was 22 years old. I would think of your mentors as like cycles,
Mhm.
and that like maybe they'll go for 2 or 3 years, and then you need to find somebody else because your challenges are different.
How do you go about finding that person?
Talking to people, seeing who's really interested. I mean, you're not going to find a mentor as much as they might be interested in mentoring you, right? But you have to show that you're available and that you want to learn. And if you show some interest, it'll be reciprocated.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Keep
Yeah.
doing what you're doing.
You
So-
think kind of not being afraid to like send out like cold email. Do you think like cold emailing somebody who, like, let's say if somebody is in a position that you want, do you think cold approaching them is like a
Give me an example of what you're talking about.
um
I'm not following what
well,
you're saying.
I guess
Should you just randomly email
No,
people?
no,
I
no.
wouldn't do that.
never mind. I don't know where I was going with that, I'll be honest. Not thinking about it.
I mean, your first step is a project engineer and a project manager, right? Your first mentor is probably going to be in your office.
Mm-hmm.
Just look around,
Right.
and who's working late.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I would go.
Right.
Who's working late that you can walk up to and talk to? That's how I do it. I think maybe if you get into your career a little bit more, you can start to have regularly scheduled meetings quarterly,
Mm-hmm.
where someone just says, hey man, let's just put this on the calendar where we go and have a lunch once a quarter And that usually works. That usually works. Yeah. So what do you want to be mentored on right now?
Honestly, developing kind of my soft skills. I
Okay.
think, well, I guess that'll just come with time, really. But
Well, how do you view soft skills?
just communication and being able to explain things
Mm-hmm.
to your peers and somebody who might not know as much as you, and being able to like effectively communicate. Um, it's something that I've kind of noticed, especially with just having an intern now and uh
You have an intern.
my team. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I we have our team has an intern, and we just delegate a bunch of work to him. And
Sure.
I've noticed I'll struggle like being able to properly convey whatever it is I'm trying to say to them.
I
And
mean, that's got to be a little challenging for you because you're probably just a couple years out of school,
right, yeah.
so I wouldn't beat yourself up about it. One of the things that I did early in my career was I joined the Toastmasters Club. And I did it with a bunch of other people in our team and our group. And I think it was once a week. We did Toastmasters for like a year.
What's
Uh,
Toastmasters?
it's like a speaking,
Oh, okay.
a speaking leadership type of club. You can look
Mm,
it up, Toastmasters International.
right.
Um, and so, I mean, that's, here's the thing, man. Communication is just always going to be a challenge. I mean, who says I'm doing this well? I've never done this before.
It comes with
So
time.
yeah, the communication challenges, they're always going to change. Right now,
Mhm.
you're challenged communicating to an intern.
Right.
Well, 10 years from now, it'll be a completely different communication challenge. So, yeah, talking with mentors about some of that stuff is going to always help. And, just look around the room and you'll find somebody. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Did you want to ask me about this megalodon
Yeah, I
thing?
noticed there's a lot of Legos in the office.
Nobody has ever mentioned anything about the vehicles on
No?
these tables.
Was
And
there a purpose behind them, or just
oh, there's a purpose. No, I'm just kidding.
because
No,
I know you had
these are
a
my kids'
yeah,
toys. And I want my kids to like watch this stuff and see their toys.
right, fair enough.
That's it.
Entice them like, oh look, it's your toy.
Well, we're wrapping it up here.
You have any
Final thoughts.
final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I mean, anything you want to share or talk about the civil engineering transportation industry? Orgil,
Yes.
hit me up. Nothing?
Not
I think you're an up and coming, bright young man. You're here on this podcast. You're out of your comfort zone. I'm peppering you with questions. You're asking all the right things. You're gonna get your professional engineer license. It's gonna happen. Are you gonna start
2027.
your own business? You think you're gonna go in that direction?
Potentially. I feel like I have a lot of great peers with a lot of great minds, and the friends I made in college were very similar, and we're all very ambitious, and we all want to get to the next step in life. And I
Well,
feel
10 or 15 years from now, if you have your own business, I might be able to give you some work.
yeah.
But it's gonna take like that long. So
So
I'm not gonna give you any work now.
no, but it takes it. You have to do your time and get your experience and know what you're doing to be able to kind of run your own business, especially I feel like in this industry where
Are you on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn?
I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn.
All right. Share and forward it. Tag yourself. Do all
Yeah.
the things.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, this was Between Two Shovels.
Thank you, Derek.
And thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for having me.
Great
I
episode.
appreciate it.